you. Thank you for all turning up. Great. Right, we'll open the meeting. I'd just like to let you know that the meeting will be recorded. So if you've got any phones, if you can put them on silent, please. Right, no apologies, so we'll go straight through on that. Agenda item 1, minutes. Hopefully you've all managed to retrieve a copy of the minutes. And any issues concerning the minutes? Yes, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, 18th of September 2018. I mean, maybe I talk out of turn here, but probably have copies of the minutes a little bit sooner after the meeting. Because I mean, there are other meetings, so it could be combined, I don't know, sent out in full council meeting. It's just that over a year after the event seems a hell of a long time, and really challenge anybody here to remember exactly what went on there, unless they've made separate notes.
Yeah, fair comment. I think it's perhaps something that we could perhaps do.
Not a big point, but
we can do that, and obviously we can do a reprint as it comes to the meeting anyway to refresh everybody's mind, but let's take that on board.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, no, they're absolutely fine.
Okay. Do we have any issues with the minutes at all?
No.
So I'm okay to sign those?
Agree, yes.
Two apologies, but we've already gone through that. Members' interest. Do we have any interest to declare?
No interest, Chair, just a query. As we go through the papers, would it be possible to go through question by question, because there's quite a lot of things that happened, and because it's such a long time ago, just to jog our memories and things that may not have been adhered to in certain parts of the requests for licences to be given. So as we go through and read the papers, could we just, rather than just skipping through? And
what I was trying to do was take them through on block actually, but if you want to go through them, just itemise them as we go through, yeah?
If that's okay, because I've got a few questions.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem, we can certainly do that. Okay. So we'll go on to item 4 then, the actual subcommittee minutes. If we take item 1, which is the 20th of September, which is the food and ban High Marks Daventry, pages 9 to 12 on your papers. Is there anything anybody wants to query concerning that particular item? So we can take that as okay, as read. Yep. Item 2 then, which is the Furlong Farm cake scheme. Is there any queries concerning that particular? Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I've got a number of questions I'd like to be answered, if not.
Okay, that's pages 13 to 22.
Yeah, page 13. Halfway down the page, the applicants held their own wedding on the July 2018. No complaints were received. May I ask the officer if no complaints were received, has any complaints been received and not actioned by us, because I'm not quite sure what a complaint is. Is it a complaint or a request? Because I'm led to believe that there was complaints and they weren't actually by officers for the licensing hearing that we attended.
Complaints are dealt with by environmental health officers.
Yeah.
So if there have been any complaints prior to the hearing, they'd have been addressed by environmental health officers and wouldn't necessarily form part of the hearing process.
Okay, but then through you, Chair, wouldn't the people who are on the panel be informed that there was actually a complaint? Could have said then that there was no complaint, but I'm led to believe that there may have been a complaint. which I believe it would only be right that the panel should be informed. It's a query because I don't know the answers, so I've been asked to.
At the time of writing the papers, I wasn't aware of any complaints.
Right.
Hence why it says there were no complaints.
Okay, if you say there was.
It's not directly from what I've said. These minutes are taken from discussions that have been, I would say more than what necessarily this
In relation to complaints on concerning the hearing or after the events?
I'm talking about at the hearing, time of the hearing, there was stated that on the applicant's wedding that they held themselves on their own premises, that there was no complaints received.
Right.
And I'm asking the question, I would led to believe that there was complaints that went about noise because they wasn't aware of noise that went on to the early hours in the morning, and should that not have been part of the information that we received as part of the panel, because maybe this is a venue that had been used prior to, or there be a private venue or private function, that we should have been aware of, that there was a noise, because that would give us an idea of if they're going to have events within these premises and being in the lowlands of Catesby, then the noise would echo into neighbouring counties, not
Was
just...
those complaints, did they go through the environmental health?
That's what I'm asking, and if they did, why wasn't the panel informed that an event would cause a problem if there was an issue or a complaint?
Right.
As far as I'm aware, any complaints that have been put forward have been after the hearing. I can look into that.
Yeah, the wedding was in July, and we didn't do the hearing until September. So I was told the complaint, and there may have been a complaint before.
Yeah. Obviously the officers wouldn't have known if the EHO hadn't brought it forward, or...
I was in discussions with environmental health and with other colleagues about this application before the hearing, and I only put that in there because I was advised that there was no complaints. I wouldn't put it in otherwise. It's not something that I generally put in comments in the hearing. It's not something I regularly put in.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's the answer. I just needed to clear up some concerns.
Could you just...
Yeah, I'll check. I'll make sure. Yeah.
Just check with environmental health. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have a few on this one, I'm afraid. Starting page 14, going on to 15, we're on about the topography meant they went round to measure the area of the venue itself, and I was advised that Mr. Worthington advised that the noise management plan would be addressed and would address any form of issues. Can I ask the officers, please, noise management plan, has it been approved and was it supplied by the applicant? The reason why I ask the question is because if they are carrying out and haven't done an assessment, then I'm concerned that they haven't followed the procedure on the licence that was offered to them.
Is there a particular condition that relates to supplying a noise management plan?
It was part of the discussion that was put in by Mr. Trecker and Mr. Worthington advised that noise management would be addressed. So I'm asking the question, has it been addressed and do we have a policy from them? It is all part of the licensing agreement that we gave on the day, that if they conformed and did what we asked on the licensing or requested, then we wouldn't have an issue. So I have issues with the licence.
So, in respect of the notice of decision, it says that the application is granted subject to Appendix A. Appendix A is all the conditions that have been added. So unless a noise management plan has to be signed off by the council, then talks about noise management would be dealt with by environmental health officers in an informal way as opposed to through the hearing process.
Right. Okay. So,
I mean, there's loads of conditions, so it'll take me a while to read through and see whether or not it does form part of the conditions. I
So is that something that you could just check with the HO that they've actually had that
Yeah, the
conversation?
final noise management plan show, that's for festivals only though. They haven't had a festival. Contain the methodology. As far as I'm aware, they've not had a festival, a music festival as yet.
So can you find out whether they've actually had that conversation then?
Yeah. For sure.
Okay, another one. One of the people representing one of the villages who objected to, or put an objection into the application, requested that measures put in place to prevent access noise in advance rather than during an event. So, as they'd already had events prior to the licence being given, has anything been done to look after the preventive of noise in advance? This would be traffic or actually noise that they make on their premises. Has anything been done to date?
So this again will be a conversation with the environmental health.
It's environmental health all the way through.
Yeah.
We don't see these it's licensing, definitely looking through planning, because there's an overlap between what is planning and what is licensing.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to split down the middle and say this is a licensing issue, and when we have a planning meeting we need to say this is licensing and this is planning, and include there's an overlap of misunderstanding in this particular case. I'll go on to the next one just right for you, Chair. Because of the upset with the local residents of most of the parishes, including Warwickshire, Stratford-upon-Avon district are involved, could I ask, part of the planning agreement request to the application was that local people were invited. I think they even moved it out to officers and councillors, but the fact was that Mr. Haig himself confirmed that he would welcome and look to get people to attend this facility. That hasn't taken place. It would ease the issue, part of the licensing request. Again, I don't believe that has taken place. Could that be investigated by officers to see if he is actually looking to, if not already done so, ask residents from all the parishes, councils, including Shuckburgh, neighbouring county, please.
Was that part of the licensing?
It was a request.
Planning?
It was. It might have been planning, but I'm not interested in planning. I'm only interested in why we gave a licence, because I don't feel that this licence has been adhered to.
I don't remember there being any discussion about specific people being invited.
It will be on the recording, so you can go back to that. I'm quite happy for that to be listened to, but yes, it was offered at the licensing meeting. But I actually thought it was in breach.
A question was raised as to whether or not people could attend a festival, and the applicant said yes, of course they would be welcome.
But they've not actually had any festivals. I think they've only had parties, midlands, weddings.
Right, so can you check whether that...
That offers still comes, yeah?
But they wouldn't be specifically invited, Chairman, they were simply told that they were welcome to attend.
Okay. Rights of way, because there is many different forms of rights of way going across Mr. Haig's property. He is only a tenant, although I've been there for a very, very long time. His family have maintained and done a very good job of maintaining the passageways, for horses, for individuals, so public right of ways. My concern is, because there is quite a number of these which go through his event, he was going to make sure that, and maybe he misunderstood the question at the time, that he would keep maintaining them. The question at the time, and obviously I've only recently seen these papers, is it wasn't a case of maintaining the access, it was keeping the access points open, because goes back to a little bit more the Open Countryside Act or whatever, because if you've got a right of way or a public right of way, you can't just close them without getting permission from at least the parish or the district council. I would suggest maybe even the county council. So if he's having an event, will he be able to or inform us when these will close? It's a question to be asked.
I think we had the discussion at the time because it was more geared towards the festivals.
We asked it to be, sorry Chair, we asked him to come back to us and give us the information. We needed to know that the public right of ways, because festivals are going to go on Saturday and Sunday.
We still have access to them, yeah.
As far as I was aware, it was still going to be
Sorry?
open access throughout the whole. They would have like stewards on site in places where to stop people necessarily going into the event, to keep them separate to the public rights of way.
Yeah.
That's what I understood.
The trouble I have is the public right of ways are open access from A to B, and they go from Charlwelton through to Shupra, and they go across a number of fields from Forsley through into Helidon. So they cross past each other. My concern is if you've got an event which is managed, and you've got security on there and it's tickets only for inside the venue, then how would they, and this is the question that I thought I asked, how would you keep those access points open? Because if a horse pony...
I actually remember the question.
Yeah, it's coming through his premises, he can't, unless he's going to have somebody on the gate, how will you stop these people?
That field where the event is sectioned off, it's on a hill and it's got hedges all the way around. So it's nowhere near the public highway, the public bridleway.
The ancient public paths and bridle ways to go through his land, that's what he said. We had a map, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
An ancient map.
Yeah.
There's a question, but he hasn't come back to us. This is my concern. You know, this was in September of last year, and we still don't have the information.
Can you check? Yeah. Okay.
Councillor Stephen Dabbs asked the question, and I have not received an answer, that people would be encouraged to leave quietly, and this would be monitored by stewards. What processes or procedures are in place? Have we seen any processes or procedures as a council that we could go back possibly to the parishes of Catesby, Helidon, Forsley, and the Shupra to say to these people, yes, this is... they are adhering to, and they are making sure that people leave. Putting up a sign saying, please leave quietly, this is a residential area, out in the countryside, to me, wouldn't be enough. If that is the case, that is all we've done. Again, it's a question.
Okay. You're okay with that, Humphrey?
Yeah. Okay. Regarding fireworks, Chairman, yourself, Chair, requested local residents and parishes councillors were informed well in advance because of the local animals. There's a huge amount of animals in that area and the surrounding villages. They requested that they might use flares. Now that concerns me, especially recently with the fireworks, etc. But they said that these flares would or did emit noise. Now, I'm not saying that they have set off any fireworks yet, or flares, but have we had any cost data sheets or anything that's given to the council to say that this is the type of equipment that we be using? A flare or a firework could be deemed as a firearm for a licence. Maybe that's a different thing that we should look at in the future. But has anything happened or evidence given to us that they are conforming to the licence that we offer them regarding that one particular question?
Right. I took that when he mentioned the flares to be some form of pyrotechnic.
You did, that's what he said, yeah.
Which they used at the time. And you're right in saying that there's a loud noise bang that goes off, because I think that's how they're normally fired off.
Yeah.
So you get this bang, and then the flare or the flash or whatever is then from that instance. So
yes, through you, Chair. My concern is that this is a very, very rural area. It's got some of the biggest lamb farms around, in the Daventry district. So my concern is that we need to review this a little bit more than the fact that yes, they will be using flares. So you particularly asked in your statement that they informed in advance any pyrotechnics that would be used, and I'm asking the question: have they come back to us with at least a cost data sheet on the and some strategy or some governance of how they're going to do this, so they will inform the other farmers in the area? There's a lot of tension there, Chair, and this is why we just need to make sure they are.
I'm sure the EHO would be involved in that, and to clarify that would be authorised. Am I right in saying that, Andrew?
As far as I know, there's no condition or anything in relation to fireworks.
But for the use of those pyrotechnics, I'm sure Environment and Health would be involved if they were being, used.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
Has Councillor Howard got a long list of complaints then? Because a lot of these things that you're asking questions about are the sort of things that should have been asked at the hearing and sorted out then, surely, in connection with the flares and everything else. They're the sort of thing you should ask here to find out whether they're going to be all right, because if they're going to make a lot of noise and that, we would have said, well, you perhaps can't do that or something like that. But there's a lot of questions coming out, and how many complaints have you had?
I don't have written complaints, but I have residential meetings with the people from that part of the district who have said that everything is falling on deaf ears, so they've asked me to speak on their behalf, which I'm doing tonight. So
if it's fell on deaf ears, they've actually contacted the council and not had any luck with anything?
I don't know exactly how much, but what I'm doing tonight, I'm reading the paper because it's the licence and review of everything that we've done. So all the questions that are down there, I'm not sure that all these questions or answers are quite relevant to what they may or may not be doing on the site. So I would like to just go through some of the concerns, because we're not happy as the subcommittee who are on the meeting, or in general the committee of people who give these people a licence, then we should look to revoke it. But at least we should give them the opportunity to say that there are concerns, they are the applicant, but they did, as they have said, that these are all the things that we put additions to, and if they haven't conformed, then we need to speak to the applicant. And I don't think they have conformed, because I'm now being told by the officers that this is not part of the plan. This is not part of the licence, it's HEO. But if it's down to the exec to come back to us from a health and safety point of view, we need for the future to have all this information so we can give a licence or not give a licence. I don't think we had the information. Now I've read all these points that are on here. So I have the concerns from some of the residents, and as all the parish councils objected and we still gave the licence, I think that as an elected member, I have a duty to go back to the parishes, even though it's not on my patch, and explain the reasons of why we gave a licence.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
When you're making decisions in relation to new applications specifically, it's always based on the fear of what might happen. So you could have half a dozen people, you could have a police officer, an environmental health officer, a fire officer, and they'd all be saying, we have concerns in relation to X, Y, Z. And generally, those types of people haven't complained, because they've got no justification for complaining. They've either not seen the applicant make an application before, they've got no history in relation to that premises potentially. So they're looking at an application on face value with the same information that you're looking at that application. And it's the local people that live right next door or a little bit down the road who will have a fear of what might happen in relation to one or more of the 4 licensing objectives. And you have to balance all that information in front of you as to whether or not you should give that person the opportunity to hold a licence. that's the way it's built up, that's the way it's expected to happen, and you make decisions based on all that relevant information you've got at that time. If subsequently you find that they're causing a noise nuisance, they're setting off fireworks, there's traffic problems or anything like that, anybody can call a review at any time. So the mechanism, if any of the local people are now being disturbed and what they were concerned about in the first place is now there and it's happening, then they can call a review, and that's a mechanism to get the licence amended and
can I ask how
councillors to
a
make
review
the
is called?
decision. So it's just an application form that they fill in. It's got to be in line with one or more of the 4 licensing objectives, so crime disorder, public nuisance, protection of children from harm, what's the other one? Public safety. So as long as I've got a concern or several concerns in relation to one or more of those, then it could be a neighbour, it could be a parish council, it could be a councillor, it could be I don't know, a business in the area, but you'd have to justify the reasons why. You'd have to show evidence, paperwork, pictures, video, things like that.
Well, the points that Wayne has raised, which are obviously concerns of what was actually mentioned by the applicant at the hearing, that he would supply that additional information. If you could check via EHO, because that's obviously, you would have to be checking it. If you could do that, and then we can then see if it conflicts with any of the conditions, or whether it's just additional information that he said he would supply.
Yeah, I'm feeling like it's not in relation to the conditions necessarily, because none of those things that have been mentioned.
No,
have
but
got necessarily
it's something that he said he would supply.
But if they've said that they would have that discussion or they'll provide paperwork.
And then if you could then pass that on to the committee, that.
But, Chair,
Yes.
now we've had this explanation, which is very good, I thought. Now Councillor Howard has that information before him. He can now go back to the people who objected and tell them what to do. In other words, ask for a review. If that's what they want.
If they've got incidences that he's contravening his conditions, then yeah, it's open to them. But unless it may not, some of the queries that Wayne has actually highlighted this evening may not be attributed to conditions.
They're more operational than.
I think,
yeah.
and they were said that the applicant said that he would give that information back to the committee, which we haven't had as yet. So perhaps that's something you can. Is there anything else on there?
I'll sum up very quickly then. Okay. Mr. Worthington, who was representing the applicant, said that noise consultants would, this is on page 15 for those who want to borrow it. Noise consultants would work with Daventry District Council environmental health and implement measures such as reducing bass volume. So my question would be, the noise consultants working with Daventry Health environmental people, have they supplied some form of evidence or some form of information on how they'll measure this? I guess it's the environmental health issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Robust drugs. This is Mr. Worthington summing up again. I haven't seen the information, so this is what concerns me. Okay, this is the problem. I think the licensing is we never get to find out if a license should still be granted once it's been granted, or if there's any follow-up. So my concern is, Mr. Worthington on summing up said a robust drug search policy would be put in place via the event management plan. Have we got an event management plan, and should that not be coming to meetings like this so we can do a follow-up? The next one is noise concerns will be addressed by providing a hotline response person on site at the event or events. Has that documentation been sent in to us so we actually know there is a hotline, and is it an independent or is it?
Do we know if he's actually held an event where those items would be?
There are events going on there, whether or not they inform us because they've got a licence. They don't need to inform us necessarily.
I've got a feeling that all of those points were in relation to a large-scale event, i.e. the music festival. So noise management plan things like that, you'd normally expect a couple of 3 months probably before a large-scale event. So you wouldn't, unless it was actually planning one for next summer, we wouldn't be expecting one at this
If you could
stage.
just check on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, through you, Chair, if you've already given a licence, then they can do basically what they want. They wouldn't necessarily need to go down that
I understand exactly where you're coming from. It's just that we need to know that should they have an event, those checks and balances are actually come through you to be checked.
They've still got to satisfy all of the statutory constancies. So if they're going to go ahead and have a large-scale event for, say, 5,000 people, just because they've got a licence doesn't necessarily mean that they can go ahead and have an event. They've still got to satisfy the fire safety, the police, the traffic management team at the county council, the noise management team, environmental health. They have to supply loads of documentation to show exactly what they've put in place. They have to follow a purple guide. So there's no way that they'd necessarily be able to just go ahead and have an event if they hadn't satisfied all of the statutory consultees. So they've got to sort of jump through hoops for several months before they can get it signed off by all the relevant.
But that doesn't apply to every event?
No, that's just the large-scale event, the music festival, which they're only going to potentially have every year. But in the last 2 years, they've not had.
Which is actually 14,999, so that's the volume that they're looking to do. Okay, just to clarify for myself, in the schedule for the applicant, we asked, applicant was an E, a fully working maintained CCTV system capable of recording and storing images. Would that be a planning requirement, or was that a part of the licensing, just so I don't cross my wires between what is planning and what is licensing?
No, that was, I suggest, probably asked for by the police, because that seems like a very standard request that the police would have asked for on the licence.
That's what I thought. Then do we have confirmation they have CCTV? Is a question I'd like the officers to ask, please. If it's part of the licensing, then that clears that up.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. That's all I've got now.
When you actually go to visit the various parish councils, if you could reiterate to them, if there is a problem at any of the events, then they are to make the complaint to the council, to EHO or to the relative body, so that then can be brought forward to the licensing department, and they can then...
Sometimes it's just about educating people, and sometimes...
Absolutely, no, I take that, but I think they just perhaps just need to understand that, you know, if there is a problem, then they need to make a complaint. They need to take that forward to the relative office. Normally, by the majority of times, it's going to be the HO, the Environmental Health Officer, and he will obviously take steps from that. And if they would then, when they do make a complaint, to let their ward member know, or yourself, or you can email the committee direct, that there has been a complaint. So we can follow that through if necessary.
Okay, thank you, Chair. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else have any queries concerning that particular item? Okay, move on to the next one. JB Foods. Does anybody have any queries concerning that? No, I actually understand that they actually appealed the decision, did they not? On virtually on the very last day? Because we revoked the licence, didn't we?
We did indeed. We've got a court date coming up. It's taken several attempts. It keeps getting postponed.
Oh, does it again?
Yeah.
Chair.
In December.
I had a query on the Mayfield Park Sports Club, which
I haven't got that far yet.
well, JB Foods is much further down the list.
No, it's the next
It's on
one.
there several
The
times.
JB News, I think you were talking about.
JB News.
Oh, sorry, JB News, I do apologise. I have a problem. Sorry, JB, my fault. I just thought I saw JB and I thought, no, JB News, sorry.
There's no minutes attached because I think it was on pink paper.
It's just confidential in the minutes,
Yeah.
not attached.
Yeah.
And the same with the other two, JB Foods further down.
Okay. Now we'll move on then to Mayfield Sports, Park Daventry.
Yeah, I had a query. I'm seeking clarification from the licensing officer. Part of this discussion, I wasn't at the hearing, concerned restrictions on where people could drink. Now, I understood previously that the sale of alcohol is a licensed activity, but drinking it isn't.
Correct.
So why is that a part of a licensing application?
Because the local residents, there was 4 or 5 of them, that were concerned that if they stood in a particular area outside the front of the building, it was going to create loads of noise and disturb them. So they were asking for
That was
people to
actually at the
stand
front
at
of the
back.
building, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so it's not specifically that they mustn't drink there, it's that they mustn't congregate there and make a noise.
And I think, do they have a bowling green as well?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to take alcohol into the bowling green.
There's a bowling green at the back, and I believe there was a drinking area immediately as you come out,
Yeah.
you know, to that, and you've got the bowling green, and I think they were making sure that people weren't going to sort of take a glass or walk across or congregate actually on the bowling green itself.
So they were trying to keep everybody happy.
I know, yeah, I remember the conversation because they were looking to actually ask for the drinking and smoking area to be at the front of the building, weren't they? Yes.
So just for clarification, the sale of alcohol is a licensable activity.
Yes, that's what I thought.
What the premises licence holder must ensure is a promotion of the 4 licensing objectives, including public nuisance. That's where this comes in, I suspect.
Thank you for that. I could sell it with that label.
And the police have specifically asked that drinks are decanted into plastic containers for when people go outside.
Yeah.
That's quite common anyway. Isn't it?
That's quite common, but yeah, I approve of all of that.
You okay with that?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Move on then to item 5, which is the street traders at Badby Road West. Anybody have any issues concerning that? Okay, move on. Percolati, Whedon? No? Okay. Now is JB Foods.
Again, there's no paperwork there.
No. The actual, it's been delayed again, the court case.
So is it 5? I've got it.
JB Foods is due to be heard, the appeal is due to be heard on the 2nd of December in Wellingborough Magistrates Court.
Oh, right, okay.
Is that on the permanent list or is it on the temporary list? And I asked the question because I've been involved in a court case recently and it just constantly gets postponed.
That's what we subject to in Northampton courts a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're bound by the court system.
So, right, JB Foods, the next one is...
3-day trial and they're still going after 4 days, so...
Excuse me, Chairman, the shop has actually been closed for quite a few weeks.
Sorry?
The shop is actually closed
Oh, has it?
for quite a few weeks, yeah. It's been cleared out.
Oh, right.
Whether they're hoping if they get it back, they can come back again.
Cool,
But,
then we could continue things.
JB Foods?
the one at the high
Just
street.
No, it's on Bottom Shoe Street.
Oh, sorry, I've got
That's
that one.
Star Convenience.
Sorry. Oh.
Bottom of Shoe Street. Right at the bottom, on the right hand side, where
Sorry, my mistake.
the benches are. It's that, I'm sure I saw it the other day.
We had to come up with the other one at High Street, didn't we?
It does go ahead, can you let us know the... Great, thank you.
This used to be a nice.
There we go, Daventry miniature race cars, any issues?
Back my head as you are.
Are you with us?
Sorry, discussion about the court system.
Daventry miniature race cars? No? Okay. Country bumpkin yurts? No. Daventry Community Centre, 10. What I would like to do with this particular one, when we actually close the meeting, if I could just ask those that wish to stay just for 5-10 minutes, just to go, just to discuss this particular item, because it did raise some issues actually on the day. Although the actual applicant didn't turn up, police didn't turn up. Environmental health actually they removed their objection, so it was rather difficult to actually hear. But in sitting, it actually raised some rather strange issues because of it was a 10. So if I can, at the end of the meeting, when we close the meeting, we can just have just a 5-minute review of that particular issue. Yes, Nick?
Yeah, I've probably got to just remind people I live opposite the community centre, whether that bears any relationship to what's going on. I'd be interested in what's going to say, but it should be excluded from any vote on anything to do with it.
Yeah, you don't have to declare an interest on that. It's this is purely actually for our information. Should we have to sit in future on a 10, which is very rare. This is apparently the first time that one has ever happened. So it was a one-off, and we were all eager to see how it turned out, to be honest.
Can I just explain as well? I know Diana has just said about we didn't hear it again.
No.
They withdrew their application in
Yes, I understand that.
in relation to the anomaly was in relation to the number of people they wanted at the event. For a temporary event notice, you can have 499. On the licence it said 400, and we can ask the condition to be put on a licence. On the temporary event notice, they're on a licence if it's relevant. But actually the fire come back and told us that the maximum number was 390. So we were like, how are we going to resolve this? So in the end, the applicant decided they would withdraw the first one and then put a new one in with 390 on it. So it avoided any issues. It was approved by environmental health and the police, so it was sort of rubber stamp the second time.
Yeah.
Which is why you've not heard it. That's why you
Which is fine. Which is fine. But that it could.
It was all news to me as well. 15 years off.
Yeah, it's something that could. It's an issue that could arise again. Probably never, but I think it's worth just discussing. Really, I think. Okay. Item 5. Licensing Act Statement of Licensing Policy Review to consider the report of the Executive Director Community attached.
More than happy to speak to the report if you wish, Chair.
Yep.
Yes, indeed, it is that time again where we have our 5-yearly review of the Statement of Licensing Policy. The existing statement was adopted by the Council, full Council, on 26th of February 2015. That's our timescale. We need to make sure that the new policy is in place by the 26th of February 2015. We've actually been working closely with the County Licensing Liaison Group, exactly the same process as previous years, where we've actually reviewed the existing policy. We have a county template, if you like, and we need to adapt it locally. This time around, we've not seen fit to make any quantity of changes. The changes are included as an appendix 2 to the report, and you'll see them mainly around accuracy for sure, and just clarification. Appendix 1 includes the actual proposed reviewed document, and what the report is seeking is for your permission to start a consultation on this next week. We're also proposing, because there's no material changes to the review report document, that we go for a 6-week consultation period, which we feel will be sufficient given the low number of changes.
This doesn't affect the election or period?
So no, this is a statutory requirement, Section 5 of the Licensing Act 2003. So if permission is granted today for the consultation, then we'll follow that through, we'll make any amendments. After that, it would need to go through senior management team, the strategy group, and then we'd seek adoption by the council before the 26th of February next year.
Do we need a proposal and seconder for that to go through? So, could I?
A comment before I do. The advice says it's recommended this, but surely this is a resolved item.
Say again, sorry?
Surely this is to be resolved by this committee, not recommended to anybody else.
It's within the gift under the Constitution for the licensing committee to make decisions on any licence of activity. All we're seeking with this particular report is it's really to gauge your views on whether this document is fit for the consultation process. That's what we're doing at this stage. In terms of once it's gone through the consultation phase and it's to be amended, then it's in the Constitution's gift of the strategy group.
Indeed.
To then move it forward to the council for final adoption.
I'm just commenting on the wording of the advice, really.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that it should go to consultation is to be agreed by this committee, so it's not a recommendation, it's a resolution.
Then I can only offer my apologies.
The last piece of policy before we go out of business, isn't it?
I'm happy to propose that it be...
We've just got two questions.
But I've got some queries on the actual wordings in there, if there's an appropriate point.
Absolutely.
I could jump in. Page 61, 9.8. British Waterways Board. Does that exist?
No.
Or are we Canal and Rivers Trust or something? I think that's also, it's mentioned again on page 85.
We should just put it for its what's it called?
Successor.
Sorry, is that on 9.8?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll take that on board. This is your opportunity to point out any items that
It's also repeated on page 85 as well.
On 85 as well. Thank you.
And then I've got another question.
What point on 85?
It's the same point, it's just this but it's just trying to be complete. It appears in two areas, so it's in two areas. My other point is on page 63, paragraph 12.3. Now, maybe I'll be completely stupid. It's paragraph 12.3 on page 63 of 86. It says Northamptonshire licensing authorities recommend that no more than 3 months' notice be given. I'm wondering, do we actually mean no more, or do we mean at least 3 months?
No.
And then in the next sentence it says a longer period than this, and to me it should be a shorter period of this. So it just doesn't strike me as logical.
My understanding why that was brought in, Councillor, was to make sure that the temporary event notice is actually as detailed as possible. What I suspect why that was brought in is that if it's more than 3 months before the actual event is due to take place, the applicant may not have all the full detail. That's why it was brought in. That's why it was brought in that particular paragraph.
Okay, so it seems odd, but it's deliberate, and that's what you intended.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Thank you.
Ian, do you have a question?
No, I was just mentioning that I thought the wording only needed altering slightly because of the fact that British Waterways has now changed its name effectively. There's nothing more than that.
Okay.
I'll research what it should be unless you can advise me.
Well, I was going to say, or it's sort of lost the word again. Successor.
It's successive. I'll certainly make sure that that's changed before it goes out to consultation.
Do we have any other queries concerning that? Yes.
Just a query on page 59, the fourth bullet point, small number. What does small number mean? I'm just wondering how much argument there could be about that.
more than happy to consider the rewording on that. It's not stated, so it's there. You know.
It is for argument then.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
But it's generally accepted, isn't it, still, that the Licensing Act 2003 is a pig's breakfast.
It is a challenging part.
Also, Chairman,
Yes.
paragraph 2 on page 59, last line of that, should weather not be where?
Thank you.
Conditions where the circumstances justify them. I think.
I'm more than happy to take that on board.
Yeah, okay.
A proofreading session, Chair.
Yeah, right. So, can I have a proposal then that we go to consultation?
Yes, I did that, I thought.
And seconder, Ian? Thank you. That carried? Thank you. Right. Do we have any urgent business? I don't have anything. Hey? Do you have anything? No? Okay. I'll call the meeting to a close, and thank you very much for coming. But for those that want to, we're just going to